Build your dreams, live rich, and leave rich.
Welcome. I'm glad you're here. We believe that to live rich isn't about being lavish. It's about living with peace of mind. And a huge part of that peace comes from knowing your finances are secure. Now, before we jump in, just a quick and very important reminder. Everything we discuss here is for your education. When it comes to your family's unique needs, please always consult a SEBI-registered financial advisor.
All right, so what's on the menu for today? Well, we've got 5 simple sections. First, we'll talk about that confusing menu and why it feels so overwhelming. Then, we're going to slice right through that confusion and give you just 3 simple choices. We'll even take a peek into the kitchen to see how each dish is made. After that, you'll learn exactly how to order for your specific goal. And we'll finish up with a final checklist you can take away and use immediately. So let me paint you a picture. Imagine walking into a restaurant. You're hungry, you're ready to order, and the waiter hands you a menu with over 2,500 dishes. Yeah, 2,500. That's exactly what it feels like when you first step into the world of mutual funds in India. It's not just a little confusing, it's completely overwhelming. And you know what? If you've ever felt that feeling of being totally stuck, like you don't know where to even begin, you are absolutely not alone. It's a classic case of what they call choice paralysis, and it's probably the biggest hurdle every new investor faces. You want to grow your money, but this mountain of options just makes you want to turn around and walk out. So what do most of us do? Well, we usually fall into one of 2 traps. The first one, we ask the waiter, the friendly bank manager or the insurance agent for a recommendation. But what does he suggest? Often, it's the dish that gets him the biggest tip, the highest commission. The second trap is looking over at the next table. We see what's popular, what everyone else is having, and we just order that. That's the same as chasing last year's top-performing fund, without stopping to think if it's right for our stomach. And when you do that, the result is almost always the same, a really bad case of financial indigestion. You end up with an investment that is completely mismatched to your goal. It's like, trying to run a 100-meter dash right after eating a heavy biryani. Putting your money in a fund meant for a 10-year goal when you need it in 1 year, well, that's just a recipe for disaster. But here's the good news. What if I told you we can take that massive, intimidating 2,500 item menu and just simplify it? We can boil it all down to just 3 basic choices. Let's cut right through all that noise. So here's the secret. Every single one of those funds fits into one of these 3 buckets. First, you have equity funds. Think of this as the spicy, exciting main course. It's packed with energy, has amazing growth potential, but it can cause a bit of short-term acidity, what we call volatility. Next, you have debt funds. This is like your cool, refreshing salad, or maybe some comforting curd rice. It's safe, it's stable, and its main job is to protect your money. And finally, you have hybrid funds, the perfectly balanced thali. You get the best of both worlds, the nutrition and growth of equity with the safety of debt. And this brings us to the single most important rule of investing. I really want you to remember this. You don't choose your investment based on taste, which means you don't chase the highest recent returns. No, you choose based on your digestion time, which is your time horizon. How long do you have until you need the money? That is the only question that matters. Okay, so now that we know the 3 main dishes, let's take a quick peek into the kitchen, right? Let's see what ingredients actually go into making each one of these. Let's start with that spicy main course, equity funds. These are your true wealth creators. They invest in the stock market, and they are perfect for those really long-term goals. We're talking about retirement, a child's college education, things that are many, many years away. If you want real growth, this is where you'll find it. And inside the world of equity, I like to think of it as a kind of zoo. You've got your large cap funds. These are the elephants. They're India's top 100 biggest companies. Slow, steady, very hard to knock down. Then you have the mid caps, the cheetahs. They're fast, they're agile, but they can trip and fall. And the small caps? Well, those are the rabbits. They can multiply like crazy, but they are also very, very risky. For most people starting out, I suggest the Flexi Cap Fund. Think of this as the zookeeper, where the expert fund manager decides the right mix for you. All right, let's move on to the cooling salad, debt funds. This is interesting. When you invest here, you're not buying a piece of a company. You're actually becoming a lender. You're lending money to the government or to really big corporations. Their whole purpose is stability, to keep your original investment safe. This makes them absolutely perfect for short-term goals, like saving for a down payment on a car you want to buy next year. And that brings us to the wonderful, balanced thali, hybrid funds. These really are the best of both worlds. They give you a bit of everything, that growth potential from the spicy equity dish combined with the safety of the cooling debt salad. Because they invest in both, you get a shot at growth, but with a nice safety cushion. It's a fantastic choice for those medium-term goals, or honestly, for anyone who just wants a little more peace of mind on their investment journey. Okay, so we've looked at the menu, we've even toured the kitchen. Now for the most important part. How do you actually order? How do you pick the right dish for your specific financial hunger?
It's actually this simple. Just look at your time horizon. If your goal is less than a year away, say you're building an emergency fund, a liquid fund is the only choice. If you're looking at maybe 1 to 3 years, a debt fund makes the most sense. And for those really big long-term goals like 5, 7, or more years away, a FlexiCap equity fund is your best friend. See, the time you have dictates the fund you choose. It really is that straightforward.
Now there's one more critical detail you have to check before you finalize your order. You'll see two versions of every fund, a direct plan and a regular plan. You must always choose the direct plan. Why? In one word, commissions. The regular plan has hidden fees that go to an agent. The direct plan cuts them out. Now you might think, oh, it's only a 1% difference. But let me tell you, that tiny 1% difference over 20 years can cost you over 20 lakh rupees. Think about that. That's a car, a down payment, a wedding, just gone, vanished into commissions. Always go direct.
Let's make this real. Meet Rohan. He needed money for his wedding in 18 months. He saw a small cap fund gave 40% returns last year and, well, he jumped in. The market then crashed. He ended up having to take a personal loan at a huge interest rate for his own wedding. Now look at Priya. She was saving for her newborn's college, 18 years away. She picked a steady FlexiCap fund. Over those 18 years, the market crashed 3 times. But she had time, so she just stayed calm and kept investing. The result? The power of compounding worked its magic, and she built a massive fund for her child's future.
Okay, we've covered a lot, so let's bring it all together into a simple final checklist. This is something you can use to take action today and start building that financial peace of mind. Here it is, 4 simple steps. First, map your goals. Just write down what you're saving for and what year you need the money. That's it. Second, tag a category. Match that timeline to the right fund type. Long-term gets equity, short-term gets debt. Third, audit what you already have. Look at your current funds. Is there a mismatch? Do you have a risky fund for a short-term goal? Time to fix it. And finally, step 4, switch to direct. Check every single one of your funds and make sure you're not in a regular plan. If you are, switch. Stop throwing your money away.
So, if you remember nothing else, remember these 5 things. 1, chase your goal, not last year's returns. 2, your time horizon is the boss. Let it dictate your choice. 3, don't forget about hybrid funds, the balanced thali for a peaceful journey. 4, ignore the rearview mirror. Past performance tells you nothing about the road ahead. And 5, the most important one, always go direct.
I'll leave you with this final thought. The stock market is a fascinating place. It's a powerful tool that consistently transfers money from the hands of the emotional, those who panic and chase trends, to the hands of the educated, those who have a simple, clear plan based on their goals. My hope for you is that you choose to be the educated investor. Thank you for joining me.